All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Virtual Speaker Series. This is Dr. Leila Naderi, Director of Partnership Development at Alliant International University. Thank you for being with us today. Hope all of you and your loved ones are safe and healthy. We are living in an extraordinary time, and anxiety, stress, disorientation is just so much to take on and take in. At Alliant International University, it's our mission to connect, educate, and empower the leaders of today and tomorrow. And during this crisis, we want to be true to our mission, and we want to be in service to you. So we are partnering with amazing organizations, experts, and thought leaders for these webinar series. Before we begin, I wanted to let you know that we are recording this webinar, and the video link will be shared with you after the webinar via email, so you can share with your network. You could also use the chat box to send your questions, and our speaker, Dr. Mike Patterson, will answer after his presentation. So I'm happy to announce that today I have invited two amazing, compassionate, thoughtful leaders to join, and I admire both of them. First, Dr. Rachna Kumar, Dean of California School of Management and Leadership, will have her opening remarks, and then we will invite our speaker, Dr. Michael Patterson, to talk about an inspiring topic, relationship intelligence. So without further ado, I want to turn it back to Dr. Rachna Kumar, Dean of California School of Management and Leadership. Dr. Kumar.
Thank you, Dr. Naderi. I'd like to welcome everyone here today to our webinar. This is a monthly speaker series that we conduct every month, and we are honored to have your time here today and join us. I am Rachna Kumar. I'm the Dean for the California School of Management and Leadership. In my time at Alliant, I have worked in the School of Management and Leadership with a wonderful team of educators, as well as a wonderful team of colleagues that are helping us develop different kinds of programs. If we can go back one slide, Mike, please. And so when I moved from New York, which is where my career of research and consulting started, I was in New York University. My research and consulting started with the banking industry. It was finance, it was systems and technology. And I moved to California, so a lot of my consulting now is with startups, raising funds for new ventures or helping them establish remote teams. Some of the discussions we will have with in the next half of today's speech will be about remote teams, and it'll be about teams, good leadership, good relationships for that. So there are several research articles that we can share at some other point. If you're interested, please let me know. Next slide, please. All right, so I wanted to give you a little bit introduction to the school. I was looking at the list of participants. We have been joined today by several of my corporate colleagues. We have several faculty, we have educators. So there's a whole diversity of participants. I would like to introduce to you the school and tell you what programs we offer. California School of Management and Leadership is an accredited school, accredited by specialty accreditor, ACVSB. We continue to be accredited by WASC, which is WSCUC. It is the College for Accreditation of Universities, and Alliant has been accredited by WASC for more than 2 decades. our strategy in the School of Management and Leadership has been to always keep current with the trends. And the trends right now is either programs like Bachelor's in Business Administration, MBA, or DBA. We have those three programs. And in addition, there is a trend of quantitative and technology-oriented programs. So we have introduced management of tech and quant areas. We continue to grow in our MBA, BSBA, and DBA programs. And the new programs are the ones that we have just launched. These are very much in the STEM areas. These are very much in that management of quant and tech areas that I was talking about as strategy. We are offering it on ground in San Diego, but we are also taking these programs online. You see there on the slide some of the programs that we are offering: MS in Data Analytics, very tech quant, MS in IST, Information Systems and Technology, MS in Healthcare Analytics, BS in Information Systems and Technology. And at the doctorate level, we actually have a specialization within the DBA. We have a specialization in Information and Data Science. Our MBA and Bachelor's also has concentrations in IT and digital marketing. So although we do have, our programs have finance and marketing, digital marketing, project management as concentrations or specializations, today I just wanted to list a few of the newer programs that we have launched, which are within the strategy of management of tech and quant areas. So with that, we are very honored today to have Mike Patterson, Dr. Patterson from Core Strengths, and he has a long list of expertise and different presentations that he will utilize for bringing to us his expertise. And so with that, Dr. Patterson, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar. Let me find out why the slide is not advancing all of a sudden. That is interesting. Let me stop sharing for a moment and let me try to share my screen again, see if I can get it to work this time. It is not working.
All right.
Well, you'd
Dr.
be.
Patterson, would you like me to share my screen? And
that would be a great backup.
if you
and
stop
I
my
want
sharing, I will share.
Okay, I want everyone to know that we were on for 30 minutes before the call practicing changing slides. So apparently we needed a little more time to practice changing slides because after all the iterations, it didn't work for me. So Lila, if you could share and you're able to advance the slides, that would be awesome.
Yes, and please let me know whenever you can see the slides. Just a second.
We are.
All right. How about?
Not yet.
How about now?
I can see that.
Ah, there we go.
There are others.
There we go. Okay, if we could just put that in present mode, we will be in business. All right. There we go. Okay. So officially, good evening, everyone. It is great to be with you. I'd like to begin tonight with a big, bold, audacious idea. And here's the idea. Better business results, stronger teams, more successful careers, and happier lives often boil down to one thing. And that one thing is better relationships. But the question is, how do we form better relationships, especially now that we're all locked up in our homes? That is the purpose of this presentation, is to offer some ideas on how we build better relationships with the people we work with and now work with remotely, and also build better relationships with the people that we're locked in our homes with. Now more than ever, we need to have better relationships, and the way to do that, the way I'm going to argue to do that, is through relationship intelligence. Next slide, please. So my goal is to, yay, okay, it's working. So my goal today is to be as interactive on this webinar as possible. I know that attention spans are short and we're probably doing more webinars now than we've ever done in our lives. So I'm going to try to make this as interactive as possible. And so since today's webinar is about working together, let me find out who I'm working with here today on this webinar. If you could just type into the chat window, either your organization, you're welcome to type your name in. It would be fun to see everybody's name, the organization you work with, or the city and state you're joining from. It would be just really fun to see who we're connected with here. And if you type that into the chat window, that should scroll, and I see some names, and you're getting okay. All right. Looks like we're on the right slide. We're seeing people scrolling in, several people from Alliant, other organizations, Goodwill Industries, students from Walla Walla University. I have friends in Walla Walla University. That's awesome. So thank you for joining from wherever you are this evening. My goal is to, again, keep this interactive, keep it lively as we go through the session today. If you have questions, please put those in the question window. There's going to be some time reserved at the end of the session where I'm going to attempt to answer your questions. And if we don't get to all your questions, we'll find a way to get back to you and try to answer those questions offline. So thank you for sharing where you're from. Lila, if you would change the slide. Let me tell you who I am. I'm Mike Patterson. I'm a principal in a company called Core Strengths. We're a global talent development firm. We're based in Carlsbad, California, which is not too far from Alliant San Diego's campus. We have offices, Core Strengths has offices in Singapore, the UK, several offices throughout the United States. I'm not sure that that's terribly relevant in these days because everybody's working from home. So we've got a whole bunch of empty offices, but be that as it may, we hope to get back there as soon as possible. I'm one of the authors who's had the opportunity to create some of the content I'll be sharing today and the content we share broadly with our clients. I get to work with a lot of great clients. I'll talk to you about some of those folks in a moment. I've also got a side hustle. I used to just tell people I have a second job. My kids said, "That's not cool at all, Dad. Tell people you have a side hustle. It makes you sound current and relevant." And so my side hustle is I teach in the doctoral program at Pepperdine University's Graduate School of Education and Psychology. I teach doctoral students. I love working with doctoral students because they're all much smarter than I am. And I'm always learning. I'm trying to keep up with them. And so I love working with doctoral students. I'm a big fan of Pepperdine. I know we're not in competition here, so I can say that. Excuse me, but that's what I do, and I love what I do. Next slide, please. So Core Strengths is my company, and Lila, you'll have to just kind of build all the slides out. I'll try to announce the builds, but we're good now. We didn't rehearse the animating part of the slide, so we'll ask for your grace as we go through this. As I said, I've had the chance to work with a lot of premier organizations, companies that you'd recognize, their name brands. You're probably using their products in your home right now, as well as other organizations that are smaller but still doing meaningful work. The way we serve these clients is generally in the solution areas you see on the screen. Team effectiveness, diversity and inclusion, conflict management, leadership development. These are all areas that my team and I get to work with companies and clients, and it's just fascinating work for me. I've been doing it a long time, and value adding, at least I hope and believe we do add great value to the clients we work with. Next slide, please. The way we work with our clients is generally in three areas. We deliver assessments. The SDI 2.0 is an award-winning assessment that measures motives under two conditions: when things are going well and when people are in conflict. It measures how you use your strengths and how you may overdo your strengths and get yourself in trouble with people. And for those of you in the session tonight, if you'll stick around till the end, don't be tempted to leave because something good is on Netflix. That Netflix show is going to be there. Stick around with me on the webinar, and I'm going to give everyone who sticks around the chance to take the SDI 2.0 for free as my guest. So we provide assessments that support training. I believe training is a great way to help people and teams integrate skills or develop skills, practice skills, apply skills in a workplace context. But training without support, performance support, often sort of flitters away if it's not used. And so we also provide a digital platform that helps people deploy relationship intelligence in their daily meetings, messages, daily conversations, coaching sessions. And the combination of all three of these avenues of work tend to work best for organizations. Next slide, please. So the session roadmap, and you can go ahead and build this one out, Lila. There we go. So I want to tell you about relationship intelligence. I want to define what it is. I want to tell you why, or help you understand why it's important, how you acquire it, and then how you apply it on a daily basis in your work. And then we'll wrap up with that free gift I was talking about and your questions. Next slide, please. All right. So what is relationship intelligence? I could certainly throw a slide on the screen with words that I could read to you, and it would be a definition. It would be like we're in school, and I don't want to do that. I would rather for you to experience some relationship intelligence. What does relationship intelligence mean in the context of working with people to get things done? And so Layla, if you would advance the slide, let's begin that process. You all are on a rescue mission. You're working with a team of people that is trying to rescue a team of researchers who is trapped in a cave. You've been sent out by your command to go rescue these scientists who've been trapped for 2 days because of falling rock. Now, your goal as a team is to work together to get these scientists out of the cave safely. So you've got to use some of your strengths to work with other people to do this rescue. What strengths should you use? Now, Lila, if you would advance the slide, animate the slide there. Here's a list of strengths. So it's not a complete list of strengths, but it's a list of some strengths that might be useful to you as you work with your teammates to get these poor people out of this cave. And so in your chat window, if you'll play along with me, and I appreciate everyone playing along, would you type in 2 strengths that you think would be most useful as you work with your team to get these poor people out of the cave? So just start typing from the list 2 strengths that you'd like to select. All right, I see several options coming in. Love the participation, different strengths. All right, fantastic. Um, I think those might be good options, but let's see if anything else is happening here. I think the circumstances might be changing a little bit. Layla, could you advance the slide? Uh-oh, you've just established, actually, this is a good thing. So this is positive. This is a positive break here. You've established radio contact with those trapped researchers. So now that you're connected with the people you're trying to save, what two strengths might be most useful to you now as you communicate your plan to rescue these folks? Go ahead and choose maybe two different strengths. Okay, I see supportive and trusting, trusting and inclusive, supportive, trusting, inclusive, trusting. Okay, some different strengths, some different approaches. As the circumstances change and now that different people are involved, you're using different behaviors, different strengths. Okay, well, I think I'm getting something, a report on my radio here. It seems to be a weather update. Lila, could you change the slide, please? Oh my goodness, there's a flash flood coming. There's a big storm coming. The water levels in the cave are about to rise, and these people are in real danger if we can't get in and get them. So now under these conditions, would you use different strings? Type in the strengths you might use now. Quick to act, I see. Risk taking, quick to act, risk taking, lots of quick to act and risk taking. All right. So what just happened? You chose different strengths based on the situation, the circumstances, what you're trying to accomplish, and the people you're working with. You just practiced relationship intelligence, because that's what relationship intelligence is. And Layla, if you could advance the slide. Relationship intelligence is this insight that allows you to achieve goals. And we don't have to talk through everything on the slide, but you demonstrated how you change your approach between different attempts. Now, the question is, did you achieve your goal? And based on the little image on the screen, it looks like the cave is open and the researchers are getting out. There's a helicopter there to rescue them. Great news, you've gotten those folks out. But what if the goal were to work really well with your teammates in a way that makes them feel really good about the work they've just done, to make them feel inspired and valued and connected and engaged and wanting to stay on your rescue team for a long time? If we take this kind of fun little activity we do on webinars on Wednesday evenings when we're all locked in our homes and apply that to the context of work, how important is it to accomplish things with your teammates in a way that help you achieve your business objectives, but also your people objectives of getting people engaged, making them feel valued, making them feel positive about the work they're doing, even in these difficult situations? And what if your goal has nothing to do with saving researchers in caves, but it's about saving your business? It's about selling enough of whatever you're selling to keep your sales team on board and getting a paycheck every 2 weeks. If you're a leader, you're a manager, maybe what you're trying to do is make the right decisions about cutting back or saving jobs or what bills you pay and what bills you don't pay. And I know you're all facing those types of decisions if you're in leadership. And so the ability to work effectively with your teammates to accomplish those kind of goals while keeping them engaged and interested and excited and inspired and wanting to stick around when this mess is all over is really why we need relationship intelligence. because we got to get things done with people. Next slide, please. This is the slide that I get to use the definition of this term, or to define this term for you. Relationship intelligence, we shorten it by saying RQ. It might be a term you've heard of in the past, or maybe it's a new term to you, but the way we define it, if you could build the slide for me, is relationship intelligence is the insight you need to make those adjustments to make your interactions more effective. So it's how do you adjust your approach based on what you're trying to do, who you're trying to do it with. You were choosing among some options in terms of behaviors or strengths. It's kind of the same thing. You've got several ways that you could engage with people. What way will work best based on what you're trying to do, the people you're working with, and the circumstances you're in? That's what relationship intelligence is. Next slide, please. So, a little more about why you need it or why you'd want it, and then how you acquire it. So why you might want it, I gave you a practical example and kind of verbalized. Next slide, please. Verbalized what you could do with relationship intelligence, at least if you're trying to rescue people from a cave. But what does the literature say about the importance of collaboration and teamwork? Because when you deploy relationship intelligence, you tend to get better collaboration and teamwork. You're able to accomplish more. If you could build out the slide for me. About 500 business leaders were asked by some Harvard-based researchers, what would be the positive impact of better collaboration and teamwork? And not surprisingly, you got some responses like these. 80% of these business leaders said we'd have better morale. People would enjoy working here more. They'd feel more engaged. We'd probably improve our product quality and our service quality. We'd have greater innovation. And at least in my work and my practice and our business, we're finding the need to innovate now greater than at any time in our history. We've got to respond to the challenges before us in new ways, and we've got to do it lightning fast. And so according to this data, we're going to be better at that if we're collaborating and teaming better. And you see some of the other benefits there. I doubt that anyone on this webinar would argue with any of these points. So let's go a little further with this research. So next slide, please. So before you animate the slide, Layla, let me ask you a question. These are these business leaders, 503 business leaders who were surveyed by HBR researchers. They were asked, how many of you are prioritizing collaboration and teamwork as part of your people strategy? Maybe you're investing in training, maybe you're being more intentional about this area of your people strategy, your workforce strategy. What do you think? There's going to be a percentage that pops up here as soon as Layla hits the button, but don't hit it yet, because I'd love for people to type in the percentage of respondents that they think are focusing on teamwork and collaboration in their work right now. And this is recent data. So go ahead and type in 90%, 85, 30, 50, 30. Thank you for participating. It's all over the board. Somebody, I've seen several numbers that are really close. Somebody, and I offered this question a few weeks ago on a presentation, and somebody said, well, it ought to be 100%. And I think that person is right. The answer is 89%. Layla, if you could advance the slide. So 89% of the respondents said, hey, this is really important for us, and we ought to be focused on it. And you guys were pretty much in line with that. But here's maybe the dark bad news of the story here. Um, what percentage of companies say we're not very good at that right now? Our managers aren't prepared to really bring out the best in people and create safe environments where people can collaborate effectively. What do you think? What percentage of companies say we're not quite there yet? Layla, you want to advance the slide? I think we're getting close on the numbers. 44% say we don't do this very well. So we need to work on it. So 89% of companies say, yeah, this is really important. 44% of companies say, we're not so good at it. This is where relationship intelligence can help. And so over the next few minutes, and let me check my time here, I've got a few more minutes to go through some of the ways in which relationship intelligence, and why don't you advance the slide, Layla? Thank you for doing that. I'm going to give you 4 different ways that relationship intelligence can help you work better with people. And if you're a manager, you're a leader, and you're trying to get better collaboration and teamwork from your teams, here's 4 things that you ought to be looking for, and relationship intelligence can help you with. So the first suggestion I would make to you if we're trying to work better together is, when we're working with people, get the full picture. And what I mean by that is that we tend to see someone's behavior kind of like a buoy floating on the surface of water. Right? We see how they're using their strengths is another way to say that. And we form judgments about that person based on how we see them behaving. We tell stories about people based on how we see them behaving. And if we're honest with ourselves, our stories sometimes aren't that flattering about the people we're telling them on. Sometimes we make them out to be kind of a villain in our story, and we make ourselves out to be a victim in our story. We commit what's called the fundamental attribution error. We make ourselves out to be a hero and them out to be a bad guy. But the thing that I've learned is that there's much more to understanding people and really connecting with people than what floats there on the surface. To really know people, you've got to be able to see what's beneath the surface. It's like the anchor beneath the water. What's driving that behavior that we're seeing? We call it motives. And so I would contend that one way to work better with people is to understand what's behind the behavior, go beneath that surface level understanding, and understand their motives. Next slide, please. The reason you want to understand motives is because motives influence behavior. In fact, your motives drive behavior. Your motives influence what you see and do. And so the SDI 2.0 helps us understand how you value, balance, blend 3 core motives. And to make things simple in the way, and we always try to keep things simple, because if it's simple, it's memorable. If it's memorable, it's useful. And that's what we want, something that's useful in our daily work. And so we've got 3 core motives. Blue, red, and green is we label them with those colors just to keep them simple and create this common language, but there's meaning there. So we use some simple words that begin with P to describe what those 3 motives are all about. There's the blue motive is about people, and that's this drive to help others. And some of the time we really want to help people. Some of us want to spend a lot of our time helping people, nurturing relationships, supporting, caring for others. And that's a great thing. Some of us tend to focus a little more on performance, getting stuff done, achieving results. And that's the drive that tends to move us forward most of the time. Um, I call this red motive the Larry the Cable Guy motive, because Larry wants to, I know you're all saying in your bedrooms there as you're watching this, get it done. People with red there, thank you, Devon, you're helping me out there. Um, the red motive says, let's get it done, let's accomplish things, let's make decisions, let's move forward. And the green motive is about getting things right. It's about establishing order. We call that process. You want to do your homework, you want to think independently. And so all of us have these three motives, blue, red, and green motives, working together in a system. But the way this system works for me might be a little different than you and someone else. The cool thing about the SDI 2.0, this assessment that I work with, is that the assessment measures how you blend these three motives. And when I understand how you blend those motives, I'm really understanding what's important to you. And when I understand what's important to you, I'm in a better position to honor what's important to you and thereby bring out the best in you. And as a leader, I think that's one of the most important jobs I have, is to bring out the best in the people around me. And so it's important to understand motives. And motives change when we're in conflict. We don't have time to do that, but if you choose to take the assessment, you'll see how your motives shift when you go into conflict. Next slide, please. It's also important, if we're practicing relationship intelligence and we're trying to build collaborative, effective teams, to understand that our strengths are our tools, the tools we use to get things done as we work with people. So we've all got lots of strengths, and in our construct, we've identified 28 relational strengths that everybody has. The way you order those strengths, the way you prioritize those strengths, and you're inclined to use them in different settings is really based on how you're wired. But our assessment, the SDI 2.0, helps you identify how you tend to prioritize those strengths. But more importantly, what relationship intelligence does is helps you figure out how to use your strengths as you're working with other people. How do you use your tools to get the job done with the people you're in relationship with? Remember our little cave activity where we were trying to rescue those scientists that were trapped? You were choosing different tools to get the job done. Well, again, you're likely not going to be rescuing anyone in caves in anytime soon, because we're all at home social distancing. But we still need to use strengths as we work with our remote teammates. In some situations, it might be good to be persuasive. In other situations, it might be better to be analytical or inclusive or caring or trusting. When we are working with relationship intelligence, we're choosing the right tool for the job. Next slide, please. The final point I'll make in this list of 4 ways in which relationship intelligence can help you collaborate and team better is to know your audience. If you've taken any sort of public speaking or interpersonal communications course, some egghead professor somewhere, no offense to egghead professors, I think I'm kind of one of those, in more ways than one, they tell you to know your audience. Well, if you're trying to work with someone, communicate a message in a way that they will embrace and act upon and respond to positively, even if it's bad news, you're better positioned to deliver that message if you know who they are. Because as I said a moment ago, if you know who they are, you can honor who they are. And if you don't know who they are, the chances of you dishonoring what's important to them is much higher. You know, I heard someone say, and I've actually heard it quite a bit, um, if you don't um, if you let me quote Mr. Lincoln. You know, the politics are in the news. I was going to mention something else, but I think this is more appropriate in this moment. Um, you know, President Lincoln said a lot of really wise things, and you know, there are books that capture his statements and sayings. Here's my favorite. Of everything President Lincoln said, this is what I find most meaningful and most challenging to me on a daily basis. President Lincoln said, "I don't like that man, so I need to get to know him better." There's people that we're working with and we've encountered in our professional lives that we may say, "I don't like that person very much." My challenge to you would be to echo President Lincoln's challenge to all of us, and that's you need to get to know that person better, because when you draw closer to that person and get to know them, you'll probably find some common ground. You'll find a bridge that you can cross to work with them. And that's what relationship intelligence helps us do. It creates this common language and these insights that help us get to know people more quickly. Next slide, please. So let me give you 3 quick tips. These are things that you can remember. If this is your 13th webinar of the day, take away these 3 tips. ABC. And my ABC isn't always be closing. My ABC is this. A is for assess motives. If you're going to be working with someone, you got to understand what's driving their behavior. Where are they coming from? And you need to know that about yourself too. Now that we're locked at home, there's an opportunity to be a little more reflective, a little more thoughtful, especially with the people we're locked in our homes with. So assess motives is the letter A. Second point is bring the right strengths. Got a big toolbox of strengths. I think people suffer in their effectiveness or limit their effectiveness when they limit their options in terms of how they approach or interact with people. You've got a big toolbox of strengths. Don't limit your ability to bring different tools or the right tool for the job. Finally, the letter C represents communicate in the right style. In the world of communication, in the world of teamwork, collaboration, coaching, managing conflict, one size does not fit all. That may work in certain styles of clothing. It does not work in interpersonal communication. It does not work in leadership. It does not work in collaboration. We need to, again, it seems like there's a theme emerging here. We need to know how to honor the people we're working with by communicating in a style that honors what's important to them, who they are, how they like to receive communication. And so none of this is necessarily something that you flip a switch on and start doing. It takes effort, it takes work, but hopefully I've made it kind of easy to remember with the ABCs. Now, if you advance the slide, Layla, how do you apply all this? You know, it's easy for me to talk about it. It's easy for me to say, take an assessment, do training, but you need resources. You need support if you're going to be able to access relationship intelligence when you need it. So the way we do that for you is we've provided, next slide, please, a digital platform that you can access to connect with colleagues that you work with, to compare your results with stakeholders, to build teams. And we've used this triangle that you see on the screen here that allows you to show a relational ecosystem on this triangle, and that tells us a lot about who the people are and how we can best connect with them. It's just-in-time learning. It's real-time relationship intelligence. And so imagine you're walking into a meeting with your manager's manager, or this meeting is going to be on Zoom, and you need to make a good impression because you don't get to interact with this person very often. What if you could pull up their results from an assessment like the SDI and get some tips, some real-time practical tips on how to present to, how to hold a meeting with, how to craft an email to this person you need to work well with. That's what this relationship intelligence platform does for us. So I'd like all of you to be able to get started. And what I've talked about today is available to you. It's my gift to you from Core Strengths. All you have to do is, I'd love for you to take the SDI. All you have to do that is to take your phone right now, hold it up to that QR code on the screen, and let your camera scan that code. That will allow you to register to take the SDI. And when you do, after you take the assessment, you'll immediately get your results. There's about a 15-minute micro learning session there with some videos that will walk you through your results. I'd encourage you to do that. If you want to talk to someone, a coach or someone about that, you know, we'd probably be happy to jump on the phone and do that with you. But the first thing to do is to take the assessment. And so if you've got your phone, snap that QR code. If you don't have your phone handy, write down corestrengths.com/SDI, and that will get you to a place where you can sign in to take the assessment. It only takes 20-25 minutes, and it will provide tremendous insight that will help you on an ongoing basis. Next slide, please. Oh, wait, 1 second. Give you everyone another few seconds here to get that. I don't want to move too quickly because this is probably why everyone stayed on the call. All right, Layla, you want to advance one more time? Questions. I did pretty good on time, so we've got some time for questions.
We can take a couple questions till 6:55, 5:55, and then, like, you know, final notes. Yes. So I want to be sure. Dr. Patterson, can you see any? Because when I switch to the chat, actually, it doesn't allow me to use kind of like, you know, it goes from the PowerPoint. So can you see any question typing? So anyone who has question, please type in the chat.
There's also a question Q&A window there in GoToWebinar. Maybe there's something there.
Okay. Well, I can say that, like, you know, can I ask my question first until we figure out the next question?
Sure. Oh, it looks like a couple of questions came in, but Layla, you want to start with your question, and then we'll start hitting some of these that have come in that I can now see.
If you can see the question, please, you can begin with those questions.
Okay.
Fine with me. So let's keep...
Layla, I see some folks saying that the screen is blank. So either if you stop sharing, then we can all, the panelists can be on the screen.
Sure. Okay. How about like this? Yes. So.
All right. So.
I can see a question. Can I say? Can these techniques be used in any type of environment? That's a good question.
Yes, I would say is my general answer. Even with teenagers, they can be used. Sometimes they're not as effective with teenagers because nothing's effective with teenagers. But in terms of seriously, I have seen the skills associated with core strengths and relationship intelligence um, used in the military, um, uh, retail, um, technology organizations, um, both here in the United States and also in international settings as well. Um, uh, I've worked personally with clients in many different organizations, different cultures, different countries, and I've been astounded at how universal these ideas are. One question that sometimes comes up is, do assessment results um, do you find the assessment results accurate for people who are or from different countries, different cultures? They sort of have a different cultural lens through which they see the world. And my answer to that is yes. Um, Motives seem to be this a reflection of something that's universally human about us. Um, the way people use their strengths, however, is influenced by the cultural setting that they're in, whether that be an organizational culture or whether that be a national, regional, or some other sort of culture, because culture is the way we do things around here, and people tend to be affirmed for doing things that fit within a certain culture. And so certain strengths tend to rise to the top in certain cultures, but the distribution of the different motivational types tends to be consistent across different cultures. And I don't know if that's exactly what the questioner was looking for, but hopefully that's helpful.
So another question.
So, Mike, there are several questions in the Q&A and there are Q&A box, and there are several in the chat. So I was going to tell Leila to pick two so that you could then wrap up in time for the others.
Yes,
Great.
I will
Thank you.
probably pick up one more. How can we use these ideas to manage up when we are the direct report?
Okay, great. I love that question because um, when we're working with leaders, um, leaders, if we understand what's important to them, um, we're in a better position to give them what they want. In fact, I would step away and say in any sort of relationship, if we understand what's important to someone, what they want from that relationship, and we're able to give that to them, we're in a great position to work well with that person. And the definition of motives are internal drives that explain why people do what they do and what they want from their relationships. So if we're thinking about managing up with a leader, if I understand why they're doing what they're doing, hey, that's great insight for me as I try to support them, as I try to meet their expectations, as I try to maybe pass information down to my staff in support of the leader's vision. And if I understand what they want, I'll give you a specific example. Some leaders have what we would say red motives. They're driven by performance. And so maybe if I know that about a particular leader, my interactions with that leader would cause me to practice the 3 B's of effective communication with a red leader. Be brief, be brilliant, and then be gone. Because they're busy, they've got things to do. Someone who is a green leader might like to look at a lot of the details, might like to dig in and really refine the process. They want to see the 64-page spreadsheet that you've created. a blue leader might want to know more about the impact that the decisions are having on the staff or our customers, and they're more concerned about the people aspect of that. So when we know what's important to someone, we're in a better position to communicate with them and work with them.
Thank you so much. So I think because of the time, we can actually wrap up actually here. Dr. Patterson, is there any way that, those that they have questions, they can come with you?
Indeed. Let me put my email out there. It's really easy. I don't have a slide for it, but it's Mike, M-I-K-E, at corestrengths.com. And for those who also have questions or maybe just want to learn more about what we do as a company, maybe you want to see some case studies of the client work we've done, some videos of clients who have worked with us, go to corestrengths.com. We've got a lot of great resources there. More and more of our training is now virtual training. We've really upped our game in the virtual world. And so come see what we're doing and send me a note. Happy to correspond with you. And Dr. Kumar, Leila, thank you so much for inviting me here. Sorry about the slide sort of disconnect. Boy, when you least expect it, something with technology doesn't work for me.
It was
at
great.
least.
Thank you so much for, first of all, graciously accepting our invitation
It
and
was
sharing
fun.
your wisdom to help the community. And thank you for your wonderful gift, actually, our participants having access to that free assessment also. That's really, we really appreciate your participation to help the community.
My pleasure.
Yes, appreciate.
I wanted to take a very short minute to, of course, thank Dr. Patterson first, and second to say that the questions in the chat box and the Q&A box are just fascinating. I was just reading all of them, and I'd like to spend some time on that. So I'd just like to tell the participants that we'll spend some time to figure out how to contact you after this with some summary of what you asked and what we discussed today. Back to you.
Perfect. Yes, I appreciate it. Well, thank you so much for each and every one of you actually who joined today, and I appreciate Dr. Patterson and Dr. Kumar to join us. So for just final announcement, I just have some great news also. We are continuing with our virtual speaker series for next month. Actually, we will have a conference keynote virtually delivered to you. So please mark your calendar on May 14th, 9 a.m. till 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Mr. David Pasquini, United Kingdom Consul in San Diego, will join us for a wonderful keynote and talks about, a wonderful topic in the context of management and leadership. We will also have the second keynote on May 15th, 1 p.m. till 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we will actually provide, the registration link and everything via email to you. So stay tuned because we will share these things with you. Some of you also have reached out to me and have asked, in terms of our programs, our educational programs and degrees. Yes, we are actually accepting applications for summer and fall 2020. So, and also we have application fee waiver available until April 30th. So any of you who specifically are interested about programs, please reach out to me. And I have actually added my email here. So I would be more than happy to provide any additional support. And without further ado, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who joined. Thank you to Dr. Patterson, Dr. Kumar for joining us. And I hope to see you in our next webinar on May 14th. And also till then, I hope you stay well, healthy, and optimistic. We need that more than anything else, yes. Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you. we stayed on?
Yes, I think I will end the meeting right now. Thank you so much, Dr. Patterson and Dr. Kumar. Really, really wonderful, actually. Dr. Patterson, we will stay in touch.
Yeah, thank you. And I have absolutely no idea what happened to the slides. The first three worked great, and then it stopped moving. I'm not sure what happened.
Mm-hmm. I had the same challenge, and then I used there was a crosser at at the left corner bottom.
So
So
that was the way to do it?
yes, I used it that way instead of using enter. Yes, but all went great. You did a fantastic job. Really, thank you so much. Really inspiring and was really
It
informative.
looks like we're still recording too.
Yes, no problem. We could actually yes, and I see some participants are in the webinar as well.